Working with your company has been the best decision from a marketing perspective that we've made. Before we met, I wasn't doing much at all. I had a little bit of Shopify automated email stuff going, but it wasn't doing much for me. I could spend the time to learn and do something, but then when it doesn't work, I don't know why it didn't work. I've kind of learned my lesson that it's good to try to find people who know what they're doing. Out of all those marketing experiments that we did, creating the flows with you was the biggest ROI producer in terms of marketing for the company.
Well, thanks, Terry, for taking the time to jump on this call with me and just answer a few questions about Legit 3D. First of all, can you just kind of explain a little bit more about your business and what it is that you guys sell and what you do?
Yeah, so it's e-commerce. We sell laser etched products, a lot of luggage tags and things like that. Direct to consumer. We also sell through Amazon and Etsy.
Awesome, awesome. And can you kind of share a little bit more about like where you were specifically when it came with email before starting to work with us, and where you are now in terms of the flows and the revenue growth on that side of things?
Yeah, so before we met, I wasn't doing much at all. I had a little bit of Shopify automated email stuff going, but it wasn't doing much for me.
Mm.
And basically, what I've been doing the past couple of years is experimenting with Facebook and Google ads. And I found that the ROAS was okay, but not great. And so I was searching for ways to improve that. And so that's what led me down the path of pursuing email.
Gotcha. And so when you say that you had, the Shopify automated emails sending out, did you have like which one specifically, if you remember, did you have set up and what did that look like?
I don't really remember. It was very poorly done, and I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah.
That was it. I
Yeah,
had a lot of different things to do, and that didn't hit the top of the list as something I thought I could figure out and do something productive with. So that kind of sat on the shelf.
for sure. And I think a lot of brand owners are in a similar position where they have some like automated emails that are sending out from Shopify. But the issue is that with Shopify, it's very templated. There's not really too much you can really, modify or customize, to your brand. And so, you're kind of left with a generic kind of template that gets sent out to your customers that doesn't really resonate with or is congruent with the brand. So,
Yeah.
as far as like the email marketing flows go, obviously you kind of understood the importance of setting those up. Why not just kind of set those up yourself to begin with? Is there a reason why you're kind of searching for someone to do that?
Well, I think there's a learning curve to it, and I've done enough marketing activities myself, and not being a marketing guy, I've had the experience of wasting lots of time and energy on areas where I can spend the time to learn and do something, but then when it doesn't work, I don't know why it didn't work, right? And so I've kind of
Mhm.
learned my lesson that it's good to try to find people who know what they're doing, as long as the cost is not too high to try to experiment. And so that's the background on that piece.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, and I think with email marketing too, there's obviously so many moving pieces, right? As you know, copy, design, strategy. There's just so much that goes into having a good email system. Speaking of the flow specifically, like what type of increase in revenue did you see from our flows versus the flows that you might have had previously through Shopify?
I mean, through Shopify, we saw almost nothing. So, the reference point is it was terrible failure, but we also didn't put much energy into it, so it wasn't a huge loss of investment. I would say working with you, um, to me, the way I think about it is my Google ads have a pretty good ROAS or almost good enough. And with
Mhm.
the email flows, it kind of kicks me into a different level of ROI overall. If you take my total revenue and divide it by my investment in marketing,
Mhm.
Google ads and email included together, because my traffic has to come from somewhere. So that's coming from my Google ads. And then if I can convert a little bit more of that traffic with email, then it kind of puts me in a little bit better position overall for the business.
For sure, and from what you were saying before too, the flows that we built for you continue to generate revenue month after month after month, which is great
Yeah.
because it's something that we typically just set up one time, and for the most part, I'm sure we made some tweaks here and there, obviously, but for the most part, those flows are set up and they continue to basically print money on autopilot, which is the great part about it. So the ROI is pretty huge if you think about it, and so I think that's why you're seeing like pretty good success with the email side of things on the flow side as well, which I appreciate. What were some of the challenges that you faced before working with us and not having the flows in place at all?
I mean, we just weren't doing anything with email at all. So the challenge was we weren't investing anything, but we also weren't generating any revenue there. And so I think working with you, I've invested in a lot of time and money into marketing the past 4 or 5 years, and most of that has been uh, pretty poor in terms of ROI. I'm talking about social media. I'm talking about website design. I'm talking about ads and everything. We tried a lot of different things, just learning, and
Mhm.
most of those experiments ended in failure. And so the out of all those marketing experiments that we did, creating the flows with you was the biggest ROI producer in terms of marketing for the company. And it does continue to generate revenue every month. The welcome flow in particular has been fantastic, and there's a couple other flows that still generate revenue every month. And like you say, you invest one time, and maybe you have to go back and refine things and A/B test to improve it, but those investments pay off. And in my mind, you don't have to get a huge ROI for it to be worthwhile. And in terms of the flows, they've really exceeded my expectations. When you think about marketing overall, and
Yeah.
compare it to the other things you can do.
For sure. Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that. And it's very common for us to see the flows, like you said, the welcome series, the abandon checkout, and the browse abandonment. Those three flows, when I look at accounts and I audit different accounts, those flows are going to be making up the majority of the revenue. And so yeah, I'm really glad that we were able to kind of tailor emails specifically for legit 3D that really nurture and educate customers and kind of meet them with like where they're at in their journey with your brand. And the fact that they're producing revenue on top of that and have a high ROI, like, it's kind of a win-win situation there. In terms of your time commitment, right? In terms of working with us, like, what did that look like?
Very simple, very straightforward. I mean, one thing I appreciate about you and your team is the processes are very clear and simple. The tools that you use are free and simple to use. Communication was easy. I feel like the way that the email content is presented for review was very easy to understand. There's a very simple way for me to feedback before we approve emails. And your team is very responsive and positive. And, when mistakes are made, we could fix it right away. And so, as far as being someone who's easy to work with, it's like awesome off the charts. So, my time spent would be very little. And I also just had a high degree of trust with you and your team because you guys, with the way you describe what you do, you're very straightforward. You have a small team. You do what you say you're going to do. You don't promise things that you can't deliver. And I find that kind of behavior happens a lot with marketing teams where they're good at marketing themselves more than they're actually good at delivering results.
Yeah,
And
totally.
so yeah, and so that's been a unique experience for me if I compare your company to many others that I've worked with in the past few years.
Nice. Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. And also I want to say too, it's like it's clients like yourself that also allow us to succeed too, because without you staying on top of things and getting your approval, it would cause us to like delay the process as well. So, also on the client side, you've done a great job, like, being in there, being able to go into Trello, approve the email designs on time, give us, clear and straightforward feedback. So really appreciate that about you as well. Terry, if someone is on the fence about working with us, like let's say that someone who really wants to build out the flows, but maybe they think we're too expensive, or maybe they just don't have enough trust with us. Like, what would you tell them? Business owner to business owner.
I would say that from a cost perspective, first of all, I shopped around on pricing and I didn't find that you guys were out of place in the market in terms of having high pricing. I think the opposite is true. And what I mean specifically is your pricing is very straightforward, whereas some people would promise, like, you pay them some number of thousands of dollars and they promise this cloud of deliverables that's not exactly clear. I
Hmm.
think the way you do it is very simple. It kind of breaks down to so many dollars per email or per flow, and it's a monthly basis, and you can stop whenever you want to stop. So it's encouraging because the deliverables are very clear. You can start and stop whenever you want to. There's no trickery or no promises that don't get delivered. I encourage everybody to do a little bit of shopping out there. Talk to maybe 3 to 5 companies and then make your decision. But I've done that over and over again for lots of marketing activities, and working with your company has been the best decision from a marketing perspective that we've made. So that's my personal experience.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I really appreciate you saying that, Terry. And yeah, like I said earlier, working with you alone has been one of our favorite things to do. Like you're one of our like easiest and favorite clients to work with. So it means a lot coming from you, Terry.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. And so any final thoughts for our viewers? Anything in general that you just wanted to kind of mention?
No, I think that you got to just, if you're trying to grow your company, you have to be willing to take a little bit of risk. And I think working with you and your team, it's taking a little bit of risk, but I think you have a record of delivering ROI, and that means everything to a business owner. And just start out with the flows and go from there.
Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, thanks, Terry. I really appreciate your time. And yeah, thanks so much.
Cool. Thank you.